I think social media has been a f***ing terrible thing for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I feel like how small it's made the world in bodybuilding has been a good thing. The training knowledge that I have at this point, I've been very blessed to, have, sessions or mentorship from some of like the best people in the industry, Joe Bennett, Charles Glass, Ben Bikolsky, Hani Rambod, everyone that I've wanted to train with at this point or wanted to pick their brains with, I've had the opportunity to do so. And then I've gotten to do what makes me feel truly fulfilled within the bodybuilding space. And that is, pass the knowledge on.
Yeah.
And, getting to have that synergy that, because, it's like, it's not all give. Like, I gave him a lot of good training knowledge and everything, but Roy has shown up on time every single day for 2 years. He pushes me. He knows where my head's been at. He's really learned me as a training partner. So, while he's gotten a lot out of training with me, I've gotten a lot out of training with him too. And I think that's, as funny as it sounds, it's kind of like a marriage, with a training partner sometimes. It's like it's not always going to be 50-50.
Yeah.
Especially, bless his heart, being my training partner for my last Olympia, the 2024 one. There were some days where I'd just say, like, you finish the YouTube. It'd be for my YouTube, but, I'd just be like, Roy, you finish it. So he'd do the outro and he'd be the one talking and stuff. Or, he very much so learned to meet me at the place that I was at. So, it's like, that's all in all, it's a give, take thing. And there's like a ton of good examples of what a great training partner can do for you in the industry, years back and even currently, look at Branch and Johnny, look at, Martin and Brett right now, look at me and him, there's a ton of good examples of people that have, truly elevated themselves beyond where I think they would have been able to go. And yes, it's because of the work that they do in the gym, but it's also the work that happens outside of the gym and the camaraderie, the friendship, and like just the mutual respect that you build with that training partner. I really do think it's a pretty special relationship when you have a true, 10 toes down training partner.
Yeah. So what do you say, as far as like the necessity of having a training partner, what to those people you say that don't have a training partner or can't synergize with someone, can they make the same jumps in their physique, in the fitness world, being solo? Because a lot of times, again, it does take timing. It does take learning each other's training patterns and how to push. And that takes time to trial and error. So if someone's listening and saying, man, I wish I had that. That's great that you guys have it, but I train on my own. Train at 5 a.m, no one's going to come train with me that early, or I have to train at 10 at night. Can they make the same changes in their physique, without that? Or what does it take to separate them from having a training partner?
I 100% believe that you can still make just about the same amount of progress.
Yeah.
Is it impossible to be consistent without that? No, absolutely not. There are so many great champions that have trained by themselves, but at the end of the day, having that certain level of accountability is a great thing. I will say though, with the day and age that we live in, if you're training solo,